pretty excited about this finally getting my hatch. So I found the original manufacturer, Atkins and Hoyle. They were in Toronto, but they moved out to a place called Napanee, which is near Kingston, but they're a Canadian company. And they made these ocean hatches, and mine was leaking. The plexiglass was just totally cracked on the top. It's a ½ inch thick. It's an ocean ready hatch. So it was more cost effective. It was about half the price as to buying a new ocean hatch, or ocean capable hatch. So I'm pretty happy about that. So they put a new gasket, and then the lens itself was cracked on the corners, and water was leaking in the cracks. I tried siliconing it. Of course, it looked terrible anyway. So brand new glass, new gasket. I'm just gonna put that in. So this was my temporary setup, so I didn't have any water going in the hatch. You wouldn't believe how much of a difference having that covered is at night. I set it to open up this way with the cabin access open at night, and it's an airflow, so wind just goes through here, and it keeps it very cool. So even though it's like 30 something, 24 at night, it's still cool with the wind. But with this closed, you just don't get the wind in the cabin. It's amazing the difference. So let's get that in. Hatches, right? Yeah, that's the way it is. See, that's making a nice seal, and it's springy because the gasket at the back is actually hitting already. That's how thick that gasket is. My old one I had to really pull, so it's actually, the gasket's so thick it's holding it up. And then putting that in was a chore. So that's just awesome. Now, stuck their sticker on it. Actually, I spoke with Brian Atkins over there at Atkins and Hoyle. So appreciate the work, guys. Thank you for putting some life back into my old 70s hatch. And they changed their design where they don't have any there's no drills at all anymore in the plexiglass, so there's nothing for it to have stress over, which is great. So that's the difference from the old design to the new, is that they've gotten rid of the screw down corners here. So you can see what I did is I went over that with a rubberizing compound, and it's not leaking, but you can see this is what that glass looked like originally. So I might take this one and send it to those guys in the winter time, because it's like that. I wasn't going to do it originally, but that's looking just awesome. Really happy with that. If you'd like to help us out, like most people, we're working on a budget. We set up a Patreon page. If you'd like to join the crew, we could use some better camera equipment. That's what we're going to largely use that for, to help keep us supported making videos. And if you also, a big help would be to comment, hit the notification button, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up if you like these videos. Thank you. That's the story of the hatch. All done. This repair. Sometimes it's good to have somebody else do something and do the heavy lifting. I'm just getting, just want to check a setting on this controller. I was reading something in the forum. Plug this in, and you run the PI800. And then it's usually COM5. Connect. Upload. Okay, so now I've got my settings. So rated motor speed. I was reading somewhere that this is how you actually set. If I want to slow my speed of my motor down, because I'm on a 1-to-1 ratio, so my peak RPM before was like 2400. So if I cut that in half, 2500, let's just say, and then I download it, reconnect. It was suggesting that it will, or what the form was suggesting was that throttle up there will now be more responsive, because it's really touchy. So by lowering the rated motor speed, I can actually control the throttle amounts, so it will recalculate that. So I'm going to give that a try here right now and see what kind of difference that makes. I'm just testing out this throttle. Oh yeah, that's a huge difference. Wow. So just to show my range change, so I'm like halfway. This would have been just full power before. 1600 watts, 33 amps, so it's a lot less. I have so much more throw now. So remember I was saying in the previous, or a few videos, that's really touchy. So by making the max RPM half, then it's going to be I have more throttle throw now, which is really good. So in the vector controller, there's something here called rated motor speed. This was set to 5,000 before, so I've just basically made it 2,500 RPM. Now that I'm on direct drive, essentially the motor is directly connected to the shaft. It's 1-to-1 ratio. My prop speed that I wanted before, or my peak prop speed, would have run around 2,500, maybe 22 or 2,400. So basically it's geared up now for the motor won't exceed what the original prop speed was of the Atomic 4 engine that was in there, so that's probably a good thing. And I'm not necessarily certain if it's going to change anything in terms of power, because power is power. It just means that I've got more throttle action instead of less throttle action, and that's always been my complaint with this thing. So, or not my complaint, but my thing I've been trying to work out. So after reading through a bunch of the forums, there is a lot of useful information on there. There's a guy named Alan who is the moderator or something, but he's a wealth of information. So that's one of his things that he was commenting on. So I said, let me try that out on my problem, and yeah, it worked great. So I'm going to give this a try now, and we'll see what happens. First storm in a few weeks, blowing through really good. Just hitting us here now. I think tonight we're going to have 20 knots gusting here. Fairly unusual. Usually we're in the 10 to 15 range on a peak. It's going to be 20 tonight. So definitely keep the temperature down, I think. It's been 33 today. New hatch is not leaking. close one, guys. Pushing the batteries hard here. Down to 48 volts.
Does something like this always have to happen every year? Every year we're gonna destroy the batteries more and more.